Ciao a tutti. This video is actually going to be in English today because I wanted to share some exchange student tips for people that are going on exchange in the future. This is a video I've wanted to do since I went on exchange last year. For those of you that don't know and are watching this because you're going on exchange soon, I went on exchange last year to Italy for the semester and I learned quite a few things I wish I'd taken on board before I left. Now some of these tips you've probably heard because the truth is I had to and I just didn't really listen to them, and then at the end of my trip I thought, why did I not do that? But also a big part of exchange is learning these things for yourself. However, if you can try and take them on board before you go and at the start of your trip, I guarantee you'll have a much better time. Number one is my most important tip, and also probably the thing that most exchange students would tell you and that you most likely would have heard, and that is about making friends. When I went on exchange, like most people, I kind of expected that me being the foreign exchange student from Australia, it would be really exciting for other people and they'd all run up to me and be like, hey, who are you? Be my friend. Come do this with me. Come do this with me. But it actually wasn't like that at all. Also, just a disclaimer for all my tips. These are just things based on my personal experience and probably won't apply to every single person watching this. But yeah, I had the initial excitement. On the first day, people introduced themselves. They asked me a little bit about myself. Then after that, it slowly died away and people just didn't care anymore, as harsh as that sounds. The thing is, and this is so important, you have to remember this, when you go to another country and you go to a new school, they of course already have their friendships set up, they have their lives. You're the person with no life. Entering this already established world with things already set up and going on, you're the odd one out with no friends, you're the one that wants the friends. Don't waste your time waiting for people to come up to you. Don't expect that people will come up to you. It's not because they hate you or even don't want to hang out with you. It's simply because they actually don't need you. They are just as shy about a new person as you are about all these new people. They have their friends, they don't need you. And this is something I've especially learned since being back and having exchange students at my school. We're shy to go up and talk to the exchange students at our school and make them a part of our friendship group. If you want friends, you have to be proactive about it. Go up to people, be the one to introduce yourself, be the one to talk to them, even be the one to ask if they want to hang out with you or if you can hang out with their friendship group. I waited the good start of my exchange because of course I was so nervous and shy, as you are entering a new environment. But I just expected that people would come up to me, but they don't necessarily do it. And it wasn't until I realized this and started being the one to go up to people myself, as scary as it was at first, that I made friends and started to have a really good time. And that leads me on to my next point, which is to not be afraid or embarrassed to do stuff. You have to remember the whole time you're in a new environment, possibly with a new language, and that's terrifying, and obviously there's lots of opportunities for embarrassment in that. But the mentality I realized I had to have the whole time is to think about it in this way. In like 6 months or a year or 3 months, or if you're coming to the end of your exchange, 2 weeks, when you're back in your home country, this is all just going to be memory and you may literally never see these people again. There's only good things that can come from stepping out of your comfort zone. If that means saying yes when a teacher asks you to talk in front of the class or to give a presentation, you'll look back on that moment thinking, I'm so glad I did that. That helped me improve my confidence and my language. And if you do stuff up and it's embarrassing, it'll be a funny memory. Otherwise, you'll look back thinking, why did I say no to doing that? Everything that happens on exchange will mean nothing when you get back, unless you get pregnant. So go for it. Don't be afraid to try new things and to be embarrassed. Nothing bad can come from it. My third tip is about the language. So if you're not going to a country with a different language, feel free to skip ahead. I've got the timestamps in the description. If you'd like to see me do a video on actual tips on how to pick up and learn a language, let me know below. And my tip is, to, as obvious as it sounds, speak the language. I had a host family that could speak English pretty well, and lots of people at school could speak English as well. But a language is one of the best things you can get out of exchange, and going on exchange is literally the best way you can learn a language. I've been studying Indonesian for 5 years and I can hardly string together a sentence. But then after going on exchange for 6 months to Italy, and I thought my experience was kind of damaged by the fact that so many people did speak English to me, I was able to jump into a year 11 Italian class and do really well on it. If people aren't speaking it to, force them to. This is literally a once in a lifetime language learning opportunity, so make them speak the language too and try it. This ties on to the last point because I too was so embarrassed to try to speak it when I was like, but I can't do it. Do as much as you can. If you think you can't speak it, do as much as you can. Say words here and there. If you only know a few words, use them in your English sentences. Give it a try, please. Be confident. People always said this to me and I was like, but how can I speak the language if I don't know it? You'll learn so much more than you expect just from trying to use the little bit you do know. And you won't remember the embarrassment you felt when you stuffed up, but you will remember the language you learned for life. My fourth tip is to focus on where you are. Literally, as cliche as it is, going on exchange is a once in a lifetime chance. Sure, you'll be able to travel wherever you want in the future. You'll be able to go back to the country and live there if you'd like, but you'll always be a tourist. You'll be living by yourself. You'll never have the same level of immersion again. It was actually crazy. As boring as Italian school was, I kept reminding myself, I was like, wait, I'm sitting in a class in Italy surrounded by Italian students. You won't get to do that again. You won't get to live with a random Italian family ever again. You won't be able to run around as a teenager with no responsibilities and hang out in a foreign country. But you will get to return to your proper country in no time at all. I promise you, when you get back, people are gonna say, what? It feels like you just left. You won't lose your friends. Your family will still be there. Everything will still be the same when you get back. So enjoy where you are when you're on exchange. And don't spend so much time online / doing things that you can do in your normal country, in your exchange country. It's a once in a lifetime chance. Make the most of it. Go visit the country. There's always more to see. There's always more to learn about it. Go speak to a native. Go walk around. Nothing's happening back home. They're living their boring lives. So go make all your friends jealous and have the craziest exchange ever. Just don't waste your time talking to them. My 6th tip is to always say yes to everything. There'll be so many times when you're asked to do something, don't hesitate, don't say no because you think it may be boring or you need to watch the latest ep of your Netflix TV show. You can do that another time. There's always something to gain from going out with friends or hanging out with your host family, doing something with them. If your host mum asks you if you want to go to the supermarket with her, do it. Do it. Say yes. It's really interesting going to foreign supermarkets and comparing them to your own back home. Say yes to everything that comes your way because that will be the things you remember forever. You can fall into a pattern of just getting so comfortable in a place where you just think, oh, this is it. This is my normal life now. Why would I go out? My host family just asked me to go to the church with them. Why would I go? That's boring. Then when you get back, you realize that was crazy. That was not your normal life at all. You got nothing out of staying home, whereas if you went to the church, you could have met people, you could have seen another side of their culture, you could have listened to music in their language, you could have strengthened your relationship with your host family. You'll never regret saying yes. And my last tip is something a bit more practical, and that's to keep track of your money. I don't know how or why, but on exchange, I spent so much money. But the thing is, I wasn't being crazy and reckless and just like throwing it everywhere. I thought I was being pretty good with my money, but it just disappeared and drained. It can be so hard to get into the mentality of thinking in the translation from their price through the currency rate to your price and what you're actually spending. Even though I kept reminding myself, okay, if I see a price, it's basically double in my money. You still see the price and you think, €3, that's cheap as. You can get these apps where every time you buy something, you put it into the category and the type and how much you spent. And it's really helpful and a good way of keeping track of just where you spent. Or even just if you write it down in your notes. I did this for a bit until I accidentally deleted the app. And it was just really good because even though I was spending a lot of money, it didn't feel like it was being wasted and I could keep track of where it was going. And I wish I'd done it the whole time because at the end I came back in negative $1,000 debt to my parents and I was like, but where did that money even go? I just like went out a few times. Like, what happened? Keep track of your money. You'll be thankful for it later. But other than that, just have the best time ever on exchange. Do as much as you can. Exchange can be the best experience of your life, but it's in your hands to make it so. If you have any questions about exchange or Italy, or you'd like to see part 2 to this video, let me know below. And click subscribe for more Italy and exchange related content. Thanks for watching. I hope this was somewhat helpful. Remember, don't be shy when meeting new people. Ci vediamo nel futuro.